Anything interesting?
A letter regarding a friend. I mentioned Alexis to you, didn't I? His son. I was trying to discover what became of him. Where he ended up.
And?
Nothing. Redcliffe is abandoned, and there's no trace of him. It's as if he never existed. I think the Venatori found out he was helping me. I think they killed him.
Are you all right?
He was ill, and thus on borrowed time anyhow.
That doesn't mean you can't regret his death.
I know. Felix used to sneak me treats from the kitchens when I was working late in his father's study. Don't get into trouble on my behalf, I tell him. I like trouble, he'd say. Tevinter could use more mages like him. Those who put the good of others above themselves.
With the two of you...
Felix and I? What an odd question. No, there was nothing between us. He was just a fine young man. Better than I. Maybe if the world were a better place, he'd be here instead of me.
What was he doing in Redcliffe if he wasn't part of the Venatori?
He was there with his father. In fact, Felix was the reason I knew where the Venatori were. He planned to help if you came to Redcliffe, I understand. He had so much more than I to lose by helping. He should be alive, not I.
He should be an example for others to follow, or his death is wasted.
Should I spread the word? We could spawn the cult of Felix within a matter of days.
There are worse things.
Probably true. And you're right. His actions should not be forgotten. Thankfully, Felix wasn't the only decent sort kicking around Thedas.
My Lord Inquisitor, it's good of you to speak with me. I have news regarding one of your companions, the Tevinter.
Has Dorian done something wrong?
No, thankfully. It's nothing like that. I have been in contact with his family. House Pavas, out of Carenas. Are you familiar with them?
Familiar? We've never met, if that's what you're suggesting.
I'm suggesting nothing. I'm only curious whether you know of his... situation. The family sent a letter describing the estrangement from their son and pleading for my aid. They've asked to arrange a meeting quietly without telling him. They fear it's the only way he'll come. Since you seem to be on good terms with the young man, I'd hoped...
Are you sure this isn't some kind of trap? I mean, the secrecy.
That did occur to me. What if it is a plot of those mages, the Venatori? Another reason to put this in your hands, Inquisitor. I pray that isn't the case. But if it is, you are far better equipped than I to respond to such treachery.
Just what kind of meeting do you have in mind?
I believe they just want to talk, to understand why Dorian felt he had to come here. Somewhere private, away from Skyhold, but not in Tevinter. You make them nervous, I think. They don't understand why he's here with the Inquisition. They want him to come home.
What happens if Dorian doesn't agree?
Hopefully that will be the end of it. If not, well, that's why you should be there.
Why would his family contact you?
Because they don't know you, Inquisitor. I am not of the Imperial Chantry, but they know what I represent. These are parents concerned about the welfare of their son. How could I not do whatever possible? I would speak to the young man myself, but he does not care for me. Thus I come to you. If any good can come of this, we must try.
They don't want Dorian to know. That seems odd.
They believe the young man would refuse, and the letter implies he'd have cause. Yet, they are remorseful for whatever came before. This is a chance for dialogue. There is deceit in bringing the young man to this meeting without his foreknowledge, I know. But Does it not lead to a greater kindness if there is potential for reconciliation?
If you think I'm going to trick Dorian into meeting his family...
I feared you might say that. The family will send a retainer to meet the young man at the Red Cliff Tavern, to take him onward. If he truly does not wish this reunion, he can always end the matter there. I pray you change your mind, Inquisitor. Perhaps their letter will persuade you. If there is any chance of success in this, it behooves us to act.
I could watch you roam Skyhold all day. Here and there you run, checking in on your followers. Why don't they come to you, feed you grapes, rub your shoulders? I suppose it's more fun this way. For me, I mean. You're rather strapping.
I've noticed you're rather strapping yourself.
Of course you know. That only takes eyes.
Luckily, I have those.
You do. A rather fetching pair. At any rate, you didn't pass by to hear me fawn. Something on your mind?
You said Alexius was a mentor of yours.
He was my patron, sponsoring me to the higher levels of the Circle of Magi. In return, my successes were his. I had a lot of successes, naturally. Alexius was most pleased. He and I used to talk over brandy about the corruption, how we could one day make real change in the Imperium. And then he gave up. He stopped trying.
Why did he give up?
On a journey to Hossberg, a Darkspawn raid killed his wife and sickened his son. I remember hearing the news. He hadn't been there, you see. Alexius was convinced he could have protected them. The guilt tore him up. I helped him with his research for a while, and then we drifted apart.
That must have been difficult.
Back then, I was furious. I told him to snap out of it, move on. I thought I had all the answers. Later, I regretted my hasty words. But we didn't speak again until he approached me for the Venatori. Too much pride, I suppose. Plus, I was busy drinking. One must have priorities.
I don't think that's it. You felt guilty because you couldn't help him.
Clever you. I had a choice, you see. Wallow in self-pity or get away while I could. At any rate, he's dead now. More's the pity.
Dorian, there's a letter you need to see.
A letter? Is it a naughty letter? A humorous proposal from some Antivan dowager?
Not quite. It's from your father.
From my father? I see. And what does Magister Hallward want, pray tell?
A meeting.
Show me this letter. I know my son? What my father knows of me would barely fill a thimble. This is so typical. I'm willing to bet this retainer is a henchman, hired to knock me on the head and drag me back to Tevinter.
That would be hard to do while I stood there.
He expects me to travel with Mother Giselle, although Maker knows why he'd think I would. Let's go. Let's meet this so-called family retainer. If it's a trap, we escape and kill everyone. You're good at that. If it's not, I send the man back to my father with the message that he can stick his alarm in his wit's end.
There seems to be bad blood between you and your family.
Interesting turn of phrase. But you're correct. They don't care for my choices, nor I for theirs.
Because you wouldn't get married. Because you left.
That too.
I think you should meet with this retainer. Find out what your family wants.
I didn't ask what you thought, did I? That was unworthy, I apologize. There'd be no harm in hearing what this man of my father's has to say. If I don't like it, however, I want to leave.
That works for me.
I wonder how much my father paid this man to wait around just in case I showed. We'll find out soon enough.
believe my father's gall. Of course, he couldn't come here to Skyhold. No, that would be too much. But contacting some southern cleric on the sly, much wiser. If this is some Venatori connivance, I will be utterly disappointed.
Uh-oh, nobody's here. This doesn't bode well.
Dorian.
Father. So the whole story about the family retainer was just, what? A smokescreen?
Then you were told. I apologize for the deception, Inquisitor. I never intended for you to be involved.
Of course not. Magister Parvis couldn't come to Skyhold and be seen with the dread Inquisitor. What would people think? What is this exactly, Father? Ambush? Kidnapping? Warm family reunion?
This is how it has always been.
Considering you lied to get him here, Dorian has every right to be furious.
You don't know the half of it. But maybe you should.
Dorian, there's no need to.
I prefer the company of men. My father disapproves.
I'll need you to explain that.
Did I stutter? Men, and the company thereof as in sex. Surely you've heard of it.
I've more than heard of it, actually.
No. The Herald of Andraste. I am shocked and scandalized.
Such sarcasm.
You're not exactly subtle, O Lord Inquisitor.
I should have known that's what this was about.
No. You don't get to make those assumptions. You know nothing about the Inquisitor.
This is not what I wanted.
I'm never what you wanted, Father. Or had you forgotten?
That's a big concern in Tevinter, then.
Only if you're trying to live up to an impossible standard. Every Tevinter family is intermarrying to distill the perfect mage, perfect body, perfect mind, the perfect leader. It means every perceived flaw, every aberration is deviant and shameful. It must be hidden.
So that's what all of this is about? Who you sleep with?
That's not all it's about.
Dorian, please. If you'll only listen to me.
Why? So you can spout more convenient lies? He taught me to hate blood magic. The resort of the weak mind. Those are his words. But what was the first thing you did when your precious heir refused to play pretend for the rest of his life? You tried to change me.
I only wanted what was best for you.
You wanted the best for you. Your fucking legacy. Anything for that.
Don't leave it like this, Dorian. You'll never forgive yourself.
Tell me why you came.
If I knew, I would drive you to the Inquisition.
You didn't. I joined the Inquisition because it's the right thing to do. Once, I had a father who would have known that.
Once, I had a son who trusted me. A trust I betrayed. I only wanted to talk to him, to hear his voice again, to ask him to forgive me.
He says we're alike. Too much pride. Once I would have been overjoyed to hear him say that. Now I'm not certain. I don't know if I can forgive him.
Are you all right?
No, not really. Thank you for bringing me out there. It wasn't what I expected, but it's something.
Maker knows what you must think of me now, after that whole display.
I don't think less of you. More, if possible.
The things you say.
I mean it.
My father never understood. Living a lie, it festers inside of you like poison. You have to fight for what's in your heart.
Does that include me?
It might, if you were unattached.
I think you're mistaken.
Am I? Or are they? At any rate, time to drink myself into a stupor. It's been that sort of day. Join me sometime, if you've a mind.
I don't know what you think you're doing.
I'm being clucked at by a hen, evidently.
Don't play the fool with me, young man.
If I wanted to play the fool, I could be rather more convincing, I assure you.
Your glib tongue does you no credit.
You'd be surprised at the credit my tongue gets me, Your Reverence.
Oh,
What's going on here?
It seems the revered mother is concerned about my undue influence over you.
It is just concern. Your worship, you must know how this looks.
You might need to spell it out, my dear.
This man is of Tevinter. His presence at your side, the rumors alone.
What's wrong with him being from Tevinter, specifically?
I'm fully aware that not everyone from the Imperium is the same.
How kind of you to notice. Yet still you bow to the opinion of the masses.
The opinion of the masses is based on centuries of evidence. What would you have me tell them?
The truth?
The truth is I do not know you, and neither do they. Thus, these rumors will continue.
Oh? I'd like to hear what these rumors are, exactly.
I could not repeat them, your worship.
Repeat them? So you've shared them before?
See, I meant no disrespect, Inquisitor. Only to ask after this man's intentions. If you feel he is without ulterior motive, then I humbly beg forgiveness of you both.
Well, that's something.
She didn't get to you, did she?
No, it takes more to get to me than thinly veiled accusations.
You don't think she'll do anything?
Do what? Yours is the good opinion I care about, not hers. I don't know if you're aware, but the assumption in some corners is that you and I are intimate.
That's not the worst assumption they could have, is it?
I don't know. Is it?
Do you always answer a question with a question?
Would you like me to answer in some other fashion?
If you're capable.
If you're capable. The nonsense you speak.
You realize this makes the rumors somewhat true.
Evidently. We might have to explore the full truth of them later, in private. What's on your mind?
I'd like to talk to you about something.
How ominous. Has my father finally come up with a decent offer to buy me from you?
No, it's nothing like that.
I wouldn't blame you. My father's a very wealthy man.
I meant I wanted to talk about us.
I see. What's the latest news on the us front, then?
I was hoping to get to know you better.
You and I. People will talk.
Let them.
All right. We'll see how this goes. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Inquisitor. Good, good. This is exactly what I was hoping for.
Is it now?
Do forgive me, Inquisitor, but when I heard of your association with Monsieur Pavas, I could not resist. You see, the young man sold me a rather valuable amulet many months ago. Then he returned, asking to buy it back. Why would I simply sell it? Not only is it useful, there are others who could offer much more. Provided, of course, you desire the amulet for your friend.
Aren't you a merchant? Why not just sell it back?
I am not a fence, monsieur. I only bought your friend's amulet because of what it is. I do business in the Imperium. Having a birthright, even one not your own, is most useful in select situations. That's why I gave the young man so much. If he relinquished it, how is that my doing?
You want something from me. What would you like?
The Ligue de Celestine is an organization of wealthy noblemen in Orlais. I would join, but I lack the lineage. If someone like you applied pressure, they would admit me. That would be worth the return of the amulet.
You must not know who I am, even beyond being the Inquisitor.
You are a Trevelyan, monsieur, a man of noble blood, a man of honor.
A man who could destroy your hopes of social climbing.
Forgive me, your worship. If it is your desire, I will have the amulet delivered to Skyhold immediately. Please, just think of me kindly. I meant no offense.
I have something for you. Here it is.
It's the Pava's birthright. How did you... Why? I got myself into this. I sold it because I was desperate. I wanted to get it back on my own. What I didn't want is to be indebted to you or anyone. Now I am.
Why were you even trying to get it back?
When I left home, I wanted nothing so much as to divest myself of anything belonging to my family. But when I spoke to my father, he noticed it was gone. He asked about it. It was childish to sell it. I love my country, and this... it's a symbol. It means I'm part of it. You must think I'm foolish and sentimental.
We're all a little foolish and sentimental. There are worse things to be.
And you went and retrieved it for me. Now I'm in your debt.
Why should there be a debt? After all, I only had to glare at the man.
Of course you did. The Inquisitor snaps his fingers and people tremble.
Now you're just being difficult.
Someone intelligent would cozy up to the Inquisitor if they could. It'd be foolish not to. He can open doors, get you whatever you want, shower you with gifts and power. That's what they'll say. I'm the Magister who's using you.
Is that all? Go ahead and use me, Dorian. Or are you all talk?
Oh, you are glorious. I am apparently an incredible ass at accepting gifts. I apologize and thank you. I'm going to stop before I say something syrupy, but I won't forget this, and I will repay you. Count on it. So, it's all very nice, this flirting business. I am, however, not a nice man. So, here is my proposal. We dispense with the chit-chat and move on to something more primal. It'll set tongues wagging, of course. Not that they aren't already wagging. I suppose it really depends. How bad does the Inquisitor want to be?
I thought you'd never ask.
I like playing hard to get.
And now?
I'm gotten. I like your quarters.
Do you now?
Don't misunderstand. I'm not suggesting we venture into mutual domesticity. I just like your appointments.
Ah.
Not that I couldn't suggest some changes. Your taste is a little austere.
If you want to change things around.
No, that's not what I want. I'm curious where this goes, you and I. We've had fun, perfectly reasonable to leave it here, get on with the business of killing archdemons and such.
Tell me what you want.
All on me, then.
Should it be all on me?
I like you. More than I should. More than might be wise. We end it here, I walk away. I won't be pleased, but I'd rather now than later. Later might be dangerous.
Why dangerous?
Walking away might be harder then.
I want more than just fun, Dorian. Speechless, I see.
I was expecting something different. Where I come from, anything between two men, it's about pleasure. It's accepted, but taken no further. You learn not to hope for more. You'd be foolish to.
So let's be foolish.
Hard habit to break.
I'm good at breaking things.
Hopefully not everything. Care to, inquisit me again? I'll be more specific in my directions this time.
Show off.
To admit, it does feel good to have my amulet back. I'm not above a bit of attachment, apparently. Bloody thing.
I need to talk to you.
About how much you adore me, I assume? I hear that so often.
I thought we could discuss what happens after.
Ah, yes. After. Dreadful thing, after. Let's see. Assuming one or both of us aren't slaughtered along the way, what do you wish to happen? We could go our separate ways if you prefer. I've been a port in a storm before. I would understand.
Of course not. I want us to be together as long as we can.
You're very sentimental for someone who's killed as many people as you have.
You bring it out in me.
Sweet maker. Next you'll be making calf eyes at puppies. I don't know what the future holds. For us or anything. That's my honest answer. Once Corypheus is defeated, when this is over, I'd like to talk about it more. If you